Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today we're taking a look at a step-through fat tire commuter style e-bike, and it's from a company called Vivi. This is the ACE 07 model, and we're going to unbox it, assemble it. Let's not waste any more time, and let's get into it. Let's see what we got in this box. Okay, that looks like it's packaged nice. We'll take that. Looks like we're gonna have to attach that rear fender. Go ahead and take some of the stuff out of the box, and then we'll pull the bike out. Let's pop off some of these zip ties and see what we got here. Whenever you're cutting these zip ties, you wanna make sure you're really careful. You don't wanna clip a brake line or something that could be behind that you're not looking at. So be really careful that you're just cutting the zip tie and nothing behind it. This bike comes with a back rack. Oh, look at that color. Now that's a little bit different. The wire snips work great for popping off those zip ties. Looks like we're gonna have some CST BFT 26 by 4 inch fat tires and supplied plastic fenders. Color's growing on me. Now that we got everything out of the box, you have your tire, your fender, your saddle with seat post, and your back rack. Now let's go ahead and see what's inside the accessory box. Inside the accessory box, we have our user's manual, a bell, our pedals left and right, a toolkit, and inside the toolkit, some Allen wrenches, screwdriver. Pretty basic, but it's there. And then in this box here, we're gonna have our charger with cord. And we have a 3-amp charger. So here's everything that came in the box. Let's go ahead and start the assembly. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the assembly of the front handlebars. You're gonna wanna make sure that your stem is facing the correct direction. You wanna make sure that your brake caliper is on the back left side of that fork, and your suspension lockout is right here on the right side. That's the correct direction of the fork. So what we need to do is turn the stem around. If it's too tight, you're gonna wanna loosen this screw and the screw on the back side of the stem here. So you're gonna hold the fork and just go ahead and turn it the correct direction. That's the way it should look, hanging over the front of the bike that way. When we come down here to the light, it looks like they just screwed it on and mounted it to the opposite direction just for shipping. So we'll go ahead and change that afterwards as well. But let's remove this plate and get the handlebars screwed down. We'll go ahead and remove all 4 screws. Move them the rest of the way by hand. Pick up our handlebars, make sure they're going the correct direction. And it looks like they're gonna go like this. You wanna make sure your control display is on the left and your Shimano 7-speed thumb shifter is on the right side, just like that. And we'll go ahead and reattach the handlebars. So it looks like these handlebars are fairly straight and they go across the bike, but they do have a little bit of a curve to them as well. We're gonna go ahead and get the handlebars tightened down, and you're gonna wanna make sure when you tighten them down, you go from like top left to bottom right, top right to bottom left. You don't wanna tighten them down unevenly. Make sure that the handlebars are straight and you tighten down these screws on the side as well. And then you're gonna wanna tighten up all the screws here. Don't over tighten anything too much, because you might wanna go back once you're sitting on the bike to get a little bit of a different perspective. There we go, handlebars are assembled. So you're gonna have a 7-speed Shimano thumb shifter and a twist throttle. Let's go ahead and get the seat assembled. This bike's gonna support riders up to 330 pounds and a recommended rider height of 5'3" to 6'5". Let's go ahead and attach our seat. It's pretty wide, it has some cushion, and it looks like it has a little bit of suspension here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and get that inserted. It looks like the seat post is going to be 30.4 millimeters in diameter, and latch it closed. If you see a mark on your thumb, chances are you're pushing it down with enough force. Let's flip it over and get that front tire on. Okay, let's get our front tire attached. This hardware on the front fork is just there to protect the fork. It's garbage. To attach the front fork, what I do is I remove all the hardware. I just find it easier not having to fumble around with it while I'm putting it on. We have a nut washer and a lock washer, and it'll be the same on both sides. That's just for packing material. Go ahead and throw that away as well. Remove our nut, washer, and lock washer. So it looks like we have our mechanical disc brakes and 180 millimeter rotors. We're gonna pick up our tire, drop the rotor between the brake pads, and rest the axle on the fork just like that. Let's do it. Drop that between the brake pads, and our axle is on the fork just like that. Perfect. And you can see how that lines up just right. Let's get the hardware back on it. Make sure you're putting the lock washer in correctly so it drops in that little hole on the fork just like that. Let's go ahead and tighten them down. Do the same on the other side. Lock washer, washer, and nut. Nice and snug. Okay, let's go ahead and flip this bike right side up. You can see we have some nice CST BFT 26 by 4-inch tires with a nice off-road thread. Let's go ahead and assemble the front fender and light. So this headlight was mounted backwards just for packing. We're gonna go ahead and remove it and turn it the correct direction. I like the fact that they gave you an integrated front headlight with reflector and plastic fenders, front and rear. Let's go ahead and get them assembled. You're just gonna tuck your fender underneath here, line up your fender and your light just like this, and we'll go ahead and get them started by hand. Okay, let's get those fender arms attached as well. Make them nice and snug. And we'll go ahead and do the other side. Let's get them pedals assembled. So you're gonna have plastic pedals with reflectors. You're gonna have a right and a left pedal. Make sure you're putting the right pedal on the right side and the left pedal on the left side. I like to tighten them down by hand. Then you know you're not cross-threading them, because it would be kind of tough to get it on there if it was cross-threaded. So go ahead and tighten down our pedal. Make it nice and snug. Let's get the other pedal on. You're gonna have a Shimano tourney derailleur with a derailleur guard. That's really nice. That keeps your derailleur from getting knocked out of whack when you drop the bike or you bump into something. Glad to see that they have a derailleur guard protecting it. 7-speed cassette, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have a double-sided chain guard, plastic pedals with reflectors. Looks like there's a thin layer of plastic here, so when the chain slaps down here on the frame, it'll protect it a bit, but it looks like it's just a thin piece of plastic. The welds look decent on the bike. I don't see anything that really stands out, and the color is pretty sharp. I didn't know if I'd like the color, but I have a funny feeling in the daylight it's gonna look even cooler. Up at the front, you're gonna have a suspension front fork with preload and lockout. That's nice because you can lock that suspension out if you want as well. Let's go ahead and get the back rack and fender mounted on the back of this bike. We're gonna remove these screws here and these two down here. Let's go ahead and get started. So I like to see that they included fenders in a back rack. That's always nice on a bike. You don't have to go out and spend more money to purchase those as well. They always seem to fit a little bit better when they're included with the bike. So let's go ahead and get that mounted up. So we'll take our fender, make sure that everything's lined up, ready to go here. And then we're gonna take our back rack and drop it right on, just like this. Let's go ahead and get the back rack on. We don't want to tighten anything down too much because we want to be able to have room to adjust it. So we attached our back rack with these 4 screws. 2 screws here and the 2 screws here at the top of the bottom of the frame. And then the 2 screws at the bottom are going to be for the fender arms. So we're going to remove the screw here and attach our fender arm to the bottom just like that. That's where our fender arm is attached, and this is where our back rack is attached. And make sure everything's tightened down. Back rack and fender arm attached. So included is a rear rack. You're not going to have integrated tail light, but you will have a reflector that's attached to the back rack. On the front right side of the handlebars, you have your 7-speed Shimano thumb shifter and a twist throttle. You want to make sure you plug in all the electronics up here at the front. You're going to want to attach the red wire to the red wire, line up the groove, and snap them into place. Here's another red to red. Line them up and snap it in place. And the green to the green. Perfect. So it's still a good idea to check over every nut, bolt, and screw, even if it wasn't part of your assembly today. Okay, to power up the display, you're simply going to long press the power button. So I do like that it's big and bold and easy to read. You'll have your live speed, your battery strength, your pedal assist levels 1 through 5, so you just toggle through them with the plus or minus. And if you tap on the power button, you'll go from your odometer to your tripometer, voltage, and back to your odometer. If you hold down the minus button, you'll put the bike into a walking mode, and it also has cruise control. That's pretty straightforward and really easy to read. We almost forgot to attach our bell. What a mistake that would be. Perfect. You're going to have a 750 watt hub motor on this bike with 1475 watts at its peak. The bike goes 25 miles per hour and has 90 newton meters of torque, so we should have some fun on this bike. The ACE 07 is UL 2849 and UL 2271 certified. Vivi says you're going to get 40 to 60 miles of range on this bike. I'm sure that's going to be on pedal assist level 1 on flat ground with the light rider. You have a 48 volt 15 amp hour removable battery. You can charge this battery on or off the bike. To charge it on the bike, you're just going to pull up this little tab here and charge it right here. To charge the battery off the bike, you're going to insert your key, turn it. That's going to release the battery. Press this button to the underside of the down tube. That's going to release the battery all the way, and you pull it out just like that. And there's your charge port at the bottom. And up at the top is a battery strength indicator right here. To reinsert your battery, you're just going to go ahead and tuck it into the bottom here and snap it right into place just like that, and remove your key. You're also going to have a 3 amp charger, and you'll be able to charge this bike in 4 to 6 hours. You're going to have mechanical brakes with 180 millimeter rotors. You're going to have a cadence sensor on this bike, so you don't have to work too hard to get it going. This bike has 5 working modes: pure electric mode, pedal assist mode, normal bike mode, cruise control, or walk assist. So those are the 5 modes that this bike has, and it comes 85% assembled. You can see by our assembly here today, it wasn't too complicated and everything went really smooth, and it is a sharp looking bike. Okay, that's gonna do it for this one. And if you have a family member or friend that's interested in this e-bike, there'll be links in the description. Keep a lookout for our test ride and review video. That will be coming up soon as well. And like always, ride safe, have fun, see ya.